Hello everyone, welcome to another video. Today we're going to be taking a look at something that we started to take a look at last week with these 4 Spider-Man themed characters, and this video we're going to be taking a look at the other 4, which is mainly the villains. We got Green Goblin, Electro, Dr. Octopus, and the Lizard. This is to make up for being a disappointment last week and running out of time, but hopefully this week we can go through the rest of them. And then possibly next week I'll do an overview of all of them and my opinions on collecting unofficial knockoff figures. Just like last time, these aren't from any specific company, they are just from AliExpress. You can find them on various sellers' websites if you go on there and just search for each of the characters. Anyway, looking at these figures, just from a quick glance, you can see that they are obviously not Lego. Because LEGO haven't done any No Way Home figures, and these are all based on No Way Home. I think this one is based on The Amazing Spider-Man with the Lizard. However, it's still basically No Way Home because there isn't much of a difference between No Way Home and The Amazing Spider-Man. Speaking of which, I will take a look at this one first, just because it catches my eye. Now, one thing that I will say already is the face is a little bit awkward. It's good, I do really like the face, I just wish that they had brought it out a bit more to make it look a bit more like a lizard rather than a flat, round head. You know, if you just compare it to what the lizard looks like in the Spider-Man movies, he does definitely have a bit of a different head shape, and I definitely wish they had captured that in this. Is the fact that you can open up the head, first off, to make it look like it's biting or fighting or eating, and yes, it does look a little bit awkward, especially from the side, where you're kind of lifting the entire head rather than just opening the mouth. However, I still think it's a fun thing for kids, and it doesn't really take away from the looks. But you can also open it up to remove the tongue, which is just something that slots in. That head coming off was me messing up. The head does usually stay together pretty well. You can also turn the head, which is different to most big figs, other than the most recent Thanos that we had for Endgame. But yeah, I think it's quite fun. The fact that you can have the tongue in there or not, I think really helps. You can also see that there is some pretty fine printing with like the darker green patches going all the way through, especially on the arms. And speaking of arms, you got these nice new molded hands, where it would have been cool if you could make it hold a minifigure. Like, there's no real way to do that. So I do definitely think that maybe using the Killer Croc arms or hands would have been a fun inclusion, but I still quite like these. Speaking of the arms are a little bit stiff to move. You do kind of need to use 2 hands to be able to move them, but it can be done. They're not like ridiculously stiff, and you can take them off if needed. And looking on the back, just more of that fine detailing with the like scale reptilian kind of look, and this nice tail which can be twisted all the way around 360. It can be used to quite good effect if you like bring it up, look at it over a shoulder, or just have it hanging down low. I quite like this figure. Does it have a few issues? Yeah, but is it a good Lego good custom lizard? I think so, especially with that mouth. Although it does look a bit weird, I do think that it's quite fun. And one thing that I did forget to mention is the eye detailing is pretty menacing. Now we'll take a look at the next figure, which is Electro. Now, this Electro figure is something that I'm quite happy with. Is it perfect? No. One thing that I will say right now with like a flaw with this figure is the eyes. They've accidentally like double printed the eyes. You can see there's a bit of yellow, and then there's the actual yellow of the eyes. It doesn't bother me too much, because especially from far away, it does just kind of look like lightning coming from his eyes. You know, with the intentional electrical detailing. However, like, the rest of the figure does look really nice. I definitely think that this is one of the better printed. There's so many fine details, maybe overprinted, but that's more Lego's not meeting this quality, not this quality is too good for Lego, if that makes sense. There's some nice arm printing, if it'll focus. Some nice arm printing, similar issue to the others, where I definitely wish these were dual molded arms, because it's like no sleeve at the top, and then suddenly there's a sleeve. I just wish they were dual molded arms to kind of get the black of the shirt compared to the brown of the skin. I definitely think that would have just looked a little bit neater, kind of continue the sharp printing rather than looking at it like from the front, especially where it's just a bit wonky. However, the quality of the printing is good, definitely a big fan of that. And you can see on the back there is still some pretty nice printing. I especially love the boot detailing, where like it almost looks like it's molded to be boots rather than the colour of the like printing, but it's so detailed, so nice. And also on the back you can see there's some nice harnessing detail. And now if I can move the arms, you can see that there's no side torso printing, but there is side leg printing, which again is very nice and continues all the way around the torso and legs, around the legs of the figure. Very nice. And it comes with these like electric blasts, which can be like, pointed forwards or however you want them. And I think they're pretty good. There's an alternate head for this figure as well, or not alternate head, but alternate face printing, which I don't know how to feel. I feel like the eyes are a little bit off, but otherwise I'd say they look pretty good compared to Jamie Foxx. So there's not many issues. I definitely prefer the alternate face with the lightning and the detailing of the electricity. However, this is still quite a good figure for the face printing alone, compared to others, especially compared to like these nightmarish things from the Spider-Man figures. The next figure that we're going to look at is Dr. Octopus, and this is probably one of my favourites. I know I said that about the Electro figure, but I think this is definitely still up there, tied. There is so much going on. First off, with this back harness, with the tentacles, if I take a look at that first, just to give you an idea. The mechanical printing and moulding of these is just so incredible. Like, you got a small amount of printing there, but every other detail is moulded onto the figure and really looks nice. Now, they are ball joints, all of the individual segments. There's a couple of segments per one. You can get some really nice poses out of them. You know, you can lean the figure back and get all kinds of posing from these. They are a little bit fragile. While I was going through the reviews for this figure, I was a little bit worried that they would all break when I was trying to connect them. However, if you're sensible and, you know, kind of just trust your instinct while putting it together, you can have minimal break in the individual links. This might not be the same for all companies. However, the figure that I got, I feel like they are very tight when putting them together, but once they're in, they're probably not going to come off. Unless you pose it in the wrong way, like I did just there. But generally, I really like these tentacles, and you can even have them like on the figure when he's stood up. They don't, as long as you lean him forwards just a bit and kind of like bring the tentacle forward. You can have him standing up without support. But I did have an instant where one of the tentacles broke, so as a result, I then ended up with one less tentacle segment for each one, which is a bit annoying. Obviously, I wish none of them are broke, but again, it was just kind of as I was getting used to everything when putting them together, so it's not too much of an issue. I think the company that I got them from did also offer just tentacle replacements, so you can get individual mechanical segments as well as the like tip bits with the like eye and the claw. So they are pretty nice, and I'd recommend this figure. Now let's take a look at the actual figure itself, if I remove the bracket. And the bracket is just a neck piece with the pins that you slot into place and then add all of the ball joints onto. And it looks quite nice still, even without the tentacle addition. Obviously less interesting, but still pretty nice. Especially with this nice coat thing going on, where it's like this fabric cloth thing. Something LEGO would never give us, but I appreciate it here. I don't know if I will keep it on the figure, because you have to have the arms forwards, unless you like keep the thing up while you're putting the arm down. Otherwise it just kind of brings the thing off the shoulders. It's kind of a weird complaint, but I do feel like the coat is fun, is a nice inclusion, but as you can see on the right, it kind of like fits snugly onto the figure, but on the left, because the arm's down, it's kind of pulling itself away. So I'm not a fan of that. But it is what it is. It's nothing too major. The printing is nice. Really like it. There's nothing special that I'll really say. Like the belt around the middle is cool. The face printing's not too bad. I like the hairpiece. There are better hairpieces out there, like the Harry Potter one, but generally it's not the worst. And then if we take a look at the back, there is also this like sinister, almost Doc Ock glasses, or it is Doc Ock with glasses. I feel like the printing's a little bit low down on the face. Like if I pull this down a bit, you can see first off the back torso printing, which isn't anything amazing, but isn't anything too bad either. And is usually covered up by the coat if you decide to have it on. But the head printing isn't the best. I'm not going to lie. It's not amazing. I definitely wish it was just raised up a couple of millimeters just to kind of fill out the gap, because it does look like the hairpiece either isn't on or the face is way too low. Not a fan of that. Which is why I usually have it the other way around, which definitely looks a lot better. And unlike other figures from this review, there is no side leg printing or side or torso printing, or like anything special like that. There is back leg printing, I've just noticed, where it's got like black boots at the bottom. However, there's no side leg printing, which is why I didn't notice. It's a bit weird, not gonna lie, since I've only just noticed it. I wish they'd continued the printing all the way around if they were going to do it, but oh well, I'm not going to complain about it. Now, I think this is quite a fun figure, especially with the tentacles. I feel like they really help with posing and displaying the minifigure. Can really add some nice dynamic, just interesting things for it. The coat isn't bad. It's not for me. I will probably end up taking it off, and the fact that there is still back printing does kind of help with that. And especially since I'd have the tentacles over that anyway, so, you know, helps even more. Honestly, nothing too special, nothing too bad. These tentacles are definitely the highlight. It's just fun to have Doc Ock from No Way Home and Spider-Man 2. Now, for this figure, it also came with a glider. It was Green Goblin and his glider, and I'm going to take a look at the glider separately because that's kind of its own topic. But Green Goblin itself, I think is quite good. I really like all the intricate details. This pumpkin bomb's quite a nice inclusion. I really wish that it was one of those, like, ball pieces, you know, the Technic ball button pin things. I think that would have really been better. However, it's not bad. Still nice to have this rather than nothing. Now, the figure itself, I think the plastic is too bright. I know it kind of matches the original release of Green Goblin, but in the movie, I swear it was a lot darker, and that's something I do really wish was improved. It's got this purple scarf piece on the figure, which goes to the back. I feel like that should have been done in cloth, and I hope the main LEGO figures do it in cloth, because the way that this one works is with the Han Solo hairpiece. If you have the scarf on, it does kind of mean that you either have to have the head on loose and allow headroom in order to have the hair on properly, or the hair's getting pushed up by the scarf. That's just a sizing issue. Like, it's just, it doesn't fit. It's not intended for that. I think if you turn the scarf around, in fact, we'll try this out now. You can have the hairpiece on with the head entirely. Yeah, that works. There's still enough space on the back, I do believe, where it's not like being forced up. However, I do then feel like it's a bit awkward, covering up some really nice front torso printing, and just looks like he's wearing a scarf, not that classic look from the movie. So it is definitely better on the wrong way, or the right way for the figure, because that's how it was intended, but wrong way for the piece to be used. Words. Now, taking a look at the figure, I should have probably left the scarf off to show you the torso printing on the back and the front, but I think it is pretty good. Now, the headpiece isn't the best. It's good, don't get me wrong. I do really like the head that we've got, and the hairpiece used is correct, in my opinion. But I just wish there was alternate head printing. There's no alternate face for this. I think it would have been worth it to have no goggles for at least one of the faces. I think that would have really been fun. Now, looking at the side, you can see that there's printing all over the torso and the arms, going all along the side. I really like how it kind of like has the clasps of the silver printing going all the way down from the legs to the top. And the printing as well for the arms, pretty good. Since it's just kind of like added armour, obviously they can't really go wrong with the colours, so there's no like sleeve to mess up. And generally I feel like this is really good for the printing. You know, I feel like it goes all the way up as much as it can do, and like all the way around, so this is honestly just amazing. No like satchel neck thing, but it is printed on, so that's not too bad either. Just a really nice looking figure. Now, for the Green Goblin glider, it's kind of awkward because they didn't include like a specialised build. There was no instructions. They just kind of included a bunch of pieces. There's some left over that I didn't use in my build, but they're all pretty useful for building a Green Goblin glider. You can kind of like look at the pieces and kind of put together in your head what you want to do. And this is what I ended up making with everything that was included, or most of the stuff that was included, and I'm pretty happy with it. I'm pretty sure that if LEGO were going to do a glider, they wouldn't have used some of the techniques I did, where I've had to leave like a stud gap in the middle here to allow the clips to have their corners like cut into it a bit. And I'm pretty sure they could have done a better job with like this middle section with the standing room, because at the moment I have to have Green Goblin facing sideways. He doesn't fit on forwards, unless you like lift up a leg, which is kind of awkward to do one-handed like that. You know, you can do it, it's just not ideal. I definitely think professional designers can do a better job. I don't think there's any issues with like the clutch power of any of these. I think they might be a little bit less than professional LEGO. However, I have definitely had LEGO pieces with almost no clutch power, and then I've also had others where they've had too much from official LEGO. So I'd say this is okay. It's not perfect. I'm not going to say that the pieces are amazing, but they definitely work for what they're doing, especially this building technique here and in the front, as I've mentioned. It is putting strain on pieces that LEGO probably wouldn't do. You can also do it this way, where it like flies that way, if you wanted to. I think that definitely gives it another interesting look, but for my intended build, it goes that way. Kind of has that nicer effect to it. And yeah, there's nothing too interesting about it. This is just, they gave you some fun pieces and kind of left you to work with it, and this is what I came up with. I'm pretty happy with it. I might end up making my own Green Goblin glider in the future, just to kind of improve it. Maybe use the purple wings from this, because they are definitely a massive help. But yeah, I think that's all I'm going to really say about this. Now, after the figures that we've just taken a look at, in order of least favourite to most favourite, I'm going to go the lizard. It's definitely got its benefits. I really like the hands, and the general idea is good. The torso especially, like the main body. The head is a bit awkward. I like that you can turn it, but I definitely wish that they had extended the face, possibly to the expense of being able to open it like that, because that doesn't look like he's going to eat me, especially looking down like that. That's just not it. Still fun, still like it. It is going to do for a while, until LEGO give us an official thing, but I mean, it is what it is. Then I'm going to go with Doc Ock. I really like the tentacles, not going to lie. The tentacles are my favourite thing about it, and if I wasn't going to talk about the accessories, like the tentacles for this one, this would be definitely up there. It's amazing. I don't like the cloth thing, but that can just be left off. There's nothing like that really stands out to the figure though. There's nothing that really like catches my eye as amazing, except for the tentacles. So yeah, it's an average figure for these. Like it's just nothing too exciting, you know. Green Goblin is my second favourite from this little section that we've done, with an interesting glider build. In fairness, the build just kind of comes down to me. That's just a personal thing. But the pieces included were fun to work with, and I'm glad that they were included. But also that figure, although I do have the complaint of there being no alternate head print, the torso, you can't argue, is amazing. Yes, it's the wrong shade of green. I definitely wish they'd gone with a darker green. However, the rest of it is just, it's perfect. Like, there's no complaints that I really have with it. Printing all the way around all of the figure, like from the torso, side printing on the arms, side printing on the torso, back leg printing, everything. Perfect. Amazing. Chef's kiss. The only thing that beats that is this. The Electro figure. Now, this does technically have less printing, especially on the side of the torso. There's no printing there. But, like I mentioned in the last review, that torso printing is probably going to get scruffed up anyway. From moving the arms up and down, it's going to leave scratches and marks, and it's not going to be perfect forever, so having no printing on the side of the torso isn't an issue. I know I did mention that the printing on the arms is a bit iffy because it's not a sleeve, it's just kind of like a random black strap that doesn't go around the arm. That should have definitely been dual moulding. I can't argue with that. It's not amazing, but it is good. I think the reason why I've got this so high is because of the printing that is there. It is so detailed. Like, there is so many intricate small lines that line up across the, like, belt. Like they go perfectly. It's almost seamless. I just love how everything comes together. The torso, the legs. Yes, the head does have that mess up with the eyes, but because on this face at least, it's kind of all lightning, it's meant to be a bit sparkly. I think it does kind of get saved from that. If it was any other figure, and it was just like double Spider-Man eyes layered on top of each other, I would have been annoyed, but with this, I don't have a problem with it. And in fairness, like, thinking about them logically, Green Goblin and the Electro figure should probably be on the same level, on, like, tied first. However, I think because of the moulding of the plastic here being the wrong colour, in my opinion, I think this one does get it. But I could be swayed to say that the Green Goblin is better with them. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to leave a like, subscribe, all of that usual stuff, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.